And good evening. We come on the air tonight with the dire situation unfolding across the South. Right now, hundreds of thousands still without power and the death toll rising after that monstrous snowstorm. And the situation is about to get even worse. Cars spinning out of control on this icy road in Mississippi, crashing into other vehicles already piling up on a ditch. Power crews dangling off a helicopter working day and night to restore electricity across the region. Some families on day 4 without power, forced to sleep in their cars just to stay warm. Look at that. And in Arkansas, the roof of a rodeo arena collapsing under the weight of snow and ice. Video shows the entire structure crashing down. The overturned semi-truck cutting off a highway in Indiana, and in Ohio, multiple tractor trailers careening off the road. Here in New York, the Hudson and East Rivers frozen over, ships seen pushing through sheets of ice. Ferry services suspended until further notice. But forecasts show another bomb cyclone is approaching, the East Coast bracing for what could be another direct hit. At this hour, 72 million under cold weather alerts. It's far from over. Another blast of Arctic air is on the way. Our Bill Cairns, you know him well. He's standing by tracking the cold and the next big storm. But we begin with George Solis on the ground in hard-hit Tennessee.
Tonight, the race to restore power in the South. From the air, with repair crews using helicopters, and on the ground as nearly 400,000 people remain in the dark. At least 68 deaths are now being blamed on the dangerous winter weather nationwide as snow, ice, and freezing temperatures take their toll. Watch as the roof of this rodeo arena in Arkansas collapses from heavy snow, and as more drivers take to the roads, accidents piling up. In Mississippi, dramatic new video shows multiple cars already in a ditch on the side of the road. Then watch as this SUV loses control, slams into a truck, and adds to the pile. In Indiana, icy roads causing this big rig to turn over on its side. In Tennessee, Nashville Electric Service today reporting more than 300 power poles broken and 900 crew members working on repairs. Few need it more than the Martin family. We first shared their story last night, huddled together on the floor under blankets for warmth. Today, a new crisis. A burst pipe flooding their home, water leaking everywhere.
All the water came out on the floor here.
Oh man, this is where you guys were huddled up here.
Yeah.
Temperatures in Nashville have fallen below freezing for 6 straight days. Life-threatening conditions for those without power, like restaurant worker Madison Bright, now forced to stay with family. She showed us this text message she received saying the power was back on, even when it wasn't.
We checked twice and the power still has not been back on.
Also in Nashville, the McCann family now sleeping in their car after burst pipes flooded their home and their floors froze over.
I've been praying to God can we get any help?
Also in Nashville, police responding to reports of an unresponsive man in his home.
We believe that he succumbed to carbon monoxide poisoning.
Carbon monoxide poisoning, a growing concern.
We have actually, in the Poison Center, had at least 46 cases of poisoning in children, and then across the board, both children and adult, 101 cases since Thursday night.
George Solis joins us tonight from Nashville. George, we can see the power crews there, their lights still blinking behind you. They're working through this big freeze.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. It is a race against the clock, ahead of that next expected freeze. These guys have been out here for hours trying to restore power in one of the hardest hit neighborhoods where people have been without power for days. Part of their work actually includes chopping down through some of these frozen trees, and some of these lines I can actually hear them crackling here, which means this neighborhood could be one of the fortunate ones that gets power back relatively soon. Tom?
All right, we hope so, George. We thank you. Let's go right to meteorologist Bill Cairns. Bill, we're getting a better idea of where this next powerful storm is headed.
Yeah, good news for some and bad news for others. It kind of depends what you're looking for, too. I know there's some people that still like the snow, but that number has dwindled after this last storm. So this is going to take you into Saturday morning. So this is when the storm really begins to develop off the coast. This is just a classic coastal storm that's going to become a bomb cycle, and all that means is a really powerful winter storm in a short period of time. So this is 7 a.m. Blue shows you where it's going to be snowing. Northern Georgia, upstate of South Carolina, through North Carolina. The storm really explodes in intensity. The winds really pick up on the coast. As we go throughout the day Saturday, there's going to be a heavy snow band somewhere from Richmond to Norfolk, Virginia Beach, down through Raleigh, Washington, Greenville, New Bern, down to Wilmington, and then possibly even down through South Carolina. So then the storm was going to head more out to sea. That's the trend over the last 2 days and away from the East Coast. So as of now, areas like D.C. to New York, you may not even see a snowflake. The only areas that could get snow is possibly here in eastern portions of New England. So we're talking Providence back out to Cape Cod, maybe a little bit in Boston. So here's here's our first call snowfall, 6 inches plus. So that means a possibility someone in eastern North Carolina, southeast Virginia is going to get a foot out of this storm. I'm not willing to say who exactly yet, but we will also see damaging winds on the coast. High tide, it could be a problem because we had a full moon, Tom, on Sunday. So that's going to have the tides extra high, too, with these high winds and large waves.
Bill, I got more questions for you, but on that bomb cyclone, is there any chance it could shift back closer to the coast, or we think we're in the clear for a while?
We're still 3 days away from the snow in the southeast, 4 days from New England. So that's a long time for something to change. As far as the heavy snow goes, right now we're predicting it mostly over Cape Cod. But you notice if we took this and only shifted it 100 miles inland, then all of a sudden we get towards the I-95 corridor. So that, of course, would be, New York, Boston, adding millions of people. So, yeah, we're not going to give up on it, but the trend is our friend. Not for the cold, though. The cold is here to stay. I mean, it's been ridiculous. Tomorrow, -11 Chicago, wind chill, -9 areas of Cleveland. New York City, -7 in the morning. So it's going to be a brutal cold. And behind this storm, this cold is going to get sucked all the way to the south. These are the high temperatures. High of 37 in New Orleans as we go through Saturday. And this will be the big story after the snowstorm. The low temperature in Tampa, 32. Miami, 37. Bitterly cold conditions. And, Tom, we were thinking maybe it warms up after Groundhog's Day. For some areas on the East Coast, it may not be towards Valentine's Day now.
Wow. All right. We thank you for that, Bill. I know we're going to be talking a lot in the days ahead. Right now, desperation is sinking in for so many Americans still without power. And that includes areas like Oxford, Mississippi. You can see some of the damage here, downed trees, power lines coated in thick ice. They're having issues not just getting the power back on for residents, but also with water pressure. The mayor of Oxford, Mississippi, Robin Tannehill, joins Top Story tonight. Mayor, we thank you for your time. We know how busy you are. You have called the damage catastrophic. What is the situation like on the ground right now?
Tom, I appreciate you letting us tell our story. The situation in Oxford is complete devastation. It looks like a tornado has gone down every street in our community. People have lost homes. They've lost their cars. People are sitting in the cold tonight, many without water. It just completely devastated our electric power grid. It's not like, on a road where you have a few trees down and you rebuild a line. Our poles are snapped in half. Trees pulled complete power grids out of the ground. So we are busy repairing electric infrastructure, trying to get the power back on, get the water back on, just the basics. We're still really in an emergency state here in Oxford.
My next question was, were you prepared for a situation like this? Because sometimes, these storms, the sad irony is that they expose when you're vulnerable and what your city and state and town is vulnerable with. But it sounds like from what you're saying tonight, you guys have never experienced anything like this.
We haven't, Tom. We had an ice storm in '94. I was here. My husband was in law school, and we were in Oxford when that ice storm hit. And it was bad, but it was nothing like this, honestly. We're better prepared today. We have better equipment today. We have better plans in place, but the devastation is much greater. The landscape of Oxford is forever changed. And, I think we were as prepared as you can be for a natural disaster. You can't really be prepared for something that takes out, 12 of your 16 electric circuits. So we are rebuilding. I've got the best employees in the world. I'm telling you, they're showing up every single day saying, what can we do today to make somebody's life better? What's great about Oxford, Mississippi, tragedies and challenges like this either bring out the best or the worst in people. Right. And I've been so encouraged to see across our community that it has truly brought out the best. People
I hear you,
helping
Mayor.
their
But after days, people do reach a breaking point. Walk our viewers through what happens with the water pressure. What exactly is going on there?
They do. Unfortunately, we have experienced a huge loss of water pressure. 2 days ago, we had to put some emergency precautions in place as the water pressure at our hospital had been going down, and actually to a point where they were not able to stabilize instruments and things for necessary procedures. So we had to immediately turn off or temporarily suspend some of our customers in order to get water pressure to the hospital. Since then, this pressure has not, the capacity has just not come back like we need it to. We know that some of that is because we've got lots of apartment complexes and places that people left town, but they left their faucets running. And, on a typical day in Oxford, Mississippi, we pump about 5 million gallons of water. We've pumped 13 million gallons of water today, and it still isn't enough.
Wow, that's so wild. You've noted some frustration among residents being told power was back on, but that wasn't the case. What is the current status of getting electricity restored, and where is that misinformation coming from?
Sure. Well, we will report that we have repaired a circuit that serves a certain area. But it may be that along that circuit, there are different feeder lines that a tree has downed or a connection to a home has been pulled off the home. And so electricians are going to have to do some work to get the power back to that individual residence. But in most cases, it's that the feeder line on a particular street in a neighborhood will have one street that is out, and it's a feeder line that we just have to get in there and get a new pole in the ground. So you start with your circuits and then you build out to your tap and feeder lines, and we started yesterday. We had 10 of 16 circuits still down. This morning we were down to 8. Tonight we hope to be down to we're down to 4 right now, and I am praying that before we go to bed tonight that we've gotten one more circuit on and are down to only 3 of our 16 circuits still down as far as power goes.
We hope you're right, Mayor. We'll be thinking and praying for your community. If things do get even more dire, if you need things, make sure to get in contact with us, and we'll let the country know what you guys are going through. We appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, Tom.
We're following several major headlines out of Minneapolis as well. Newly released video showing an intense incident between Alex Pretti and federal officers days before he was fatally shot. And tonight, the 2 officers involved in his fatal shooting have been placed on leave. NBC's Camila Bernal following it all for us.
Tonight, a representative for Alex Pretti's family confirming this newly released video shows him interacting with federal agents on January 13th, 11 days before he was fatally shot. The video shows him kicking a vehicle and agents tackling him to the ground. The video does not show what happened before the incident.
That is police brutality!
And tonight, the Border Patrol agents who fired in Pretti's fatal shooting are on administrative leave, according to the Department of Homeland Security. At a town hall last night, Representative Ilhan Omar was criticizing the Trump administration's response to Pretti's death.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
When a man in the crowd charged her, spraying her with a substance in a syringe. Some of the liquid hit Councilmember Latricia Vita, who says it was terrifying not knowing what it was.
It's so scary when you don't know. And we've had some crazy incidents in this city. It's like I think everybody's on edge. So it was even scarier.
Omar's office said today it was told a preliminary report shows the substance was apple cider vinegar. Minneapolis police have arrested 55-year-old Anthony James Kamirchuk for assault. Omar is a frequent target of President Trump, who said she probably had herself sprayed, knowing her. The president is also continuing to stand by DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, despite 2 Republican senators now calling for her to go.
She's never managed a large organization, and she's failing at every possible measure of the job.
In a rare move, today DHS adopting a different stance than in the immediate hours after Pretti's death, when Noem made this claim, later contradicted by cell phone videos.
This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at this scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
DHS now saying it relied on reports from CBP from a very chaotic scene on the ground, adding an investigation is now underway.
Camila Bernal joins us tonight from Minneapolis. Camila, we're hearing more from Alex Pretti's family tonight about that new video.
That's right, Tom. The family saying they were actually already aware of previous interactions with federal agents. They also released a statement saying that a week before Alex was gunned down in the street, despite posing no threat to anyone, he was violently assaulted by a group of ICE agents. And then they added that nothing could possibly have justified that killing. Earlier in the week, the family also saying that they wanted the public to remember Alex as that nurse, as that person who cared for other people, as someone who wanted to help this community, Tom.
All right, Camila, we thank you for that. We're also tracking another story. The FBI raiding an election office near Atlanta, seeking documents related to the 2020 election. According to Fulton County officials, that county, you'll remember, central to President Trump's false claims the election was rigged. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist is there for us tonight.
Tonight, this video shows federal agents raiding an election center in Fulton County, Georgia. The county says it was served a warrant for a number of records related to 2020 elections, with the FBI calling it court-authorized law enforcement activity. All afternoon, a steady stream of local and state elected officials arriving at this sprawling facility trying to observe the agents' work. One state senator who went inside posting this video to social media that he says shows agents removing boxes of ballots.
This is an order from on high to try to disrupt Fulton County's election administration just because Donald Trump is still mad that he lost the 2020 elections.
President Trump has long falsely claimed the 2020 election was rigged, something he brought up just days ago.
It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did.
In the months after the election, the president asked Georgia's Republican Secretary of State to help him find votes to overturn the results. And Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis charged the president with interfering with the election. That case was dismissed last year. Tonight, the FBI not commenting on what it's looking for or why.
Okay, with that, Aaron Gilchrist joins us tonight, live from Fulton County. So, Aaron, what more do we know about what the FBI was looking for inside that building?
Well, Tom, the FBI is still being tight-lipped about that. I can tell you, though, if you can see behind me, there are some moving vans that have been backed up to the loading dock here at the election hub here in Fulton County. We've been watching agents there with forklifts moving items into these trucks really for the last 6 or 7 hours, at least today. They've been here doing this work. As we said, we know that the county says that they were searching for documents related to the elections in 2020. It's worth pointing out, Tom, that there was a case last month where the Department of Justice sued the circuit court clerk here, the Superior Court clerk here in Fulton County, Che Alexander, for those documents related to the election in 2020. That case, as we understand it, is still outstanding, but today there is this activity that is leading a lot of folks who are elected officials in this area to believe that there are connections between some of those cases and what's happening today and obviously what happened back in 2020, Tom.
All right, Aaron Gilchrist for us tracking that tonight, late into the night. Now to our exclusive new reporting about a terrifying close call on a runway at San Antonio's airport. The FAA praising one air traffic controller whose quick thinking averted disaster. Tom Costello has the details for us.
It was a frantic last-second call from the controller.
Cancel takeoff clearance, Southwest.
A Southwest 737 cleared for takeoff, rolling down runway 22 at 115 miles per hour in San Antonio, when a private Pilatus PC-12 plane suddenly made a wrong turn onto the same runway, heading towards the 737. A head-on crash just seconds away.
Cancel takeoff clearance, Southwest.
They stopped in time. The plane safely departed for Dallas an hour later, while another Southwest flight preparing to land was ordered to go around.
6210, go around, fly runway heading, climb maintain 4000.
A Southwest spokesperson says the controller saved the day. The FAA investigating. For years, so-called runway incursions or close calls have been a top priority at the FAA, with 1,635 in 2025, down 7% from 2024. Meanwhile, in Bangor, Maine, the NTSB says the black boxes from the private plane that crashed in snowy conditions Sunday night, killing all 6 on board, are now at the NTSB lab in Washington. The airport remains closed.
Unfortunately, the extreme weather conditions on the field are impacting the progress of the investigation.
Investigators are analyzing the weather conditions at the time of the crash and whether icing may have prevented the plane from taking off. Tom?
All right, Tom. Now to the Federal Reserve, where a defiant Fed Chair Jerome Powell today resisted White House pressure to cut interest rates again. The market's largely holding steady on the news. You see the S&P right here. It did reach a new high, though, briefly, hitting 7,000 points for the first time ever. Powell today, though, taking questions from reporters for the first time since the DOJ launched an investigation into Fed building renovations. In the room for all of it, NBC's Christine Romans, who joins us tonight live from Washington. So, Christine, we'll get to the economy, but I want to start with politics. Powell did not expand on his previous comments about the DOJ probe, but he did stress the importance of an independent Fed.
Yeah, I mean, this political drama really front and center, even as the Fed chair tried to keep it on the policy overall, you know, and he was even asked about his advice for the next Fed chief. And he said, avoid elected politics. Stay away from that. Stay in your lane and just look at the data and make the best call for the American people. And he said an independent Fed is critical for trust in the U.S. economy and the U.S. system, and also for stability for the economy.
You know, there's a wait-and-see approach to the economy that many are taking, but despite that, there's major cutbacks from several large companies like Amazon, Nike, and UPS. What are they seeing?
Yeah, you know, the Fed chief said the economy is coming into 2026 on a firm footing. That's what he said. But making note that last year they had to cut interest rates 3 times because the job market, Tom, was weakening so much. They say that weakening job market may have stabilized, even as you're seeing those headlines start to pick up here of beginning of the year layoffs for a lot of different kinds of companies. One of the reasons why the Fed is taking a wait-and-see approach, not cutting interest rates right now, but not ruling it out in the future if the job market starts to weaken further.
Christine, we thank you for that. We're back in a moment with dramatic new testimony in the au pair affair and that murder trial. The husband taking the stand in his own defense. You'll see him. Why he says the plot to kill his wife never happened. And the night he got with the au pair. Stay with us. We're back with a dramatic scene in a Virginia courtroom. The man accused of killing his wife and a stranger so he could continue his affair with their au pair taking the stand in his own defense. NBC's Stephanie Gosk has the details.
In a Virginia court,
testify truthfully in this case under penalty of law.
Accused killer Brendan Banfield taking the stand in his own defense. Prosecutors say he conspired with the family's au pair to kill his wife Christine and another man, Joseph Ryan, by luring him to the house with a fake profile on a fetish website. Today, Banfield telling the jury that never happened.
I think that it's an absurd line of questioning that a plan was made to get rid of my wife. That is absolutely crazy.
Banfield did admit he had an affair with the au pair, Juliana Perez Magalhaes, starting 6 months before the alleged murders, on a night that his wife and daughter were in New York City.
I did not stop her advances. When I went upstairs, she came with me into my bedroom.
Banfield testifying that he told Magalhaes that it was just an affair and that both he and his wife had multiple affairs in the past. Prosecutors say Banfield came up with the scheme to kill his wife so he could start a new life with Magalhaes. She pleaded guilty to manslaughter and testified for the prosecution that there was a plan to kill Christine.
Did he tell you what he wanted to do?
Yes.
What did he say?
He mentioned his plan to get rid of her.
Okay, Stephanie joins us now along with our NBC News legal analyst, Misty Maris. Thank you both for being here tonight. Stephanie, I'm going to start with you. Yeah. Just before he got off the stand, Banfield started talking about the morning of the killings.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. A critical timeline, right? What did he do? Where was he? When did he get to the house? He said he left early in the morning, that he had an important meeting, that he went to McDonald's and he got his breakfast, where he then received a phone call, according to his testimony, from the nanny, who sounded stressed. He tried to call his wife, Christine, he told the jury, couldn't reach her, and they stopped testimony right before he got to the house to describe what happened at the house. It will be important, however, because the prosecution says he was at that McDonald's waiting for the call from the nanny because he knew it was going to come, and that he was going to go back to the house.
Misty, you know, was unclear if Banfield would take the stand. He has. I don't know how you think he's doing so far. Would you have put him on the stand if you were defending him?
Listen, I think this is a hugely risky move, and this is the direct examination right now. So this is friendly. It's his defense attorney giving him the questions to tell his story. And some of what Stephanie was just talking about, this morning breakfast run to McDonald's before work, is a critical timeline in the case. And he's locking himself in to a timeline where prosecutors are really going to be able to go after that and cross. In addition to that, remember, the cross-examination, when somebody takes the stand, it opens up the door to a whole host of things the jury would never hear. So this is a hugely risky move, and I'm not sure from what we've seen so far that it's playing into the defense's favor.
Stephanie, you've been watching this trial. He's been taking notes throughout the case. What was his composure like on the stand?
Pretty much the same. I mean, he was very composed. He was very calm. You know, and he's talking about deeply personal things and things that don't make him look that good when he talks about starting the affair, and he's talking about how he's had affairs in the past, how his wife had affairs in the past. But he delivered everything almost exactly the same, except for that one moment where he said it's absolutely crazy. You never would have come up with this plan.
Yeah, Misty, I want to ask you, tomorrow's going to have the cross-examination, as you mentioned. The prosecution's going to get their shot. They think he's the mastermind at this. What do you think we're going to see?
Well, first of all, they have to establish that there was a conspiracy, an agreement between him and the au pair to facilitate this crime. And I think you're going to be confronted with a lot of the electronic evidence. And another factor, when we talk about stuff that the jury might not have heard, remember, he's an IRS agent. So it's likely that prosecutors are going to say, well, you have training in forensic evidence. You have training which would allow you to concoct this kind of complex scheme more so than the average person. So I think you're going to see a really brutal cross tomorrow.
Okay, we'll be tracking it. We thank you guys both for being here. Still to come tonight on Top Story, new developments in the state murder case against Luigi Mangione, what we just learned about when he could go to trial. Plus the terrifying moment in the air, video capturing a plane losing its wheel shortly after takeoff. So what happened? But first, Top Story's top moment in a New Jersey preschool asked students once a month to bring in something they're thankful for. Show and tell day. And while most kids would choose their favorite toy, 4-year-old Daniel asked if he could bring his 2-year-old sister, Sophie. Take a look.
All right, Daniel, tell us about Sophie. What do you like to do with her?
Play.
What do you guys play together? Cards. Oh, Sophie likes to play cards? Is he a good brother? Yeah. Do you want to give him a hug? Good.
Ah, love that. Mom Stephanie said the moment made her so proud to be Daniel and Sophie's mom. All right, stay with Top Story. Got more on the way. We're back now with a deadly virus overseas that health officials here in the U.S. are monitoring. Airports in Southeast Asia ramping up health screenings due to confirmed cases of the Nipah virus, which has no known cure. NBC's Raf Sanchez joins us now with the details. Raf, tell us more about the disease and how transmissible it is.
So, Tom, this is a really serious virus. It is far more deadly than COVID. The World Health Organization says it has a fatality rate of between 40 and 75%. It is usually transmitted from animals to humans. So it's usually in fruit bats, pigs, animals like that. It is also possible for humans to get it from infected fruit if that fruit has been in contact with those animals. The good news is human-to-human transmission is pretty rare. This is not an airborne virus. It's not like COVID. You can't get it from somebody breathing near you. It's more likely to be carried by secretions, so by fluids. But the bad news is there is no known vaccine, and that is why these 2 cases that were confirmed in India, in the state of West Bengal, are really setting off alarms all over the region and all around the world at this point. Tom?
And then what are we hearing from the CDC here in the U.S. about this?
Yeah, so they say that they are closely monitoring the situation. They say that they stand ready to assist, and they are in close contact with the Ministry of Health in India. Now, the Indian authorities are saying that they've been doing pretty widespread contact tracing. You remember that from COVID. They're getting in touch with everybody who was in contact with those 2 confirmed cases. They are saying they haven't detected any further outbreak, and so they believe at this stage they have the virus under control. But in neighboring countries, in Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, they're really taking no chances. You mentioned that heightened screening that we're seeing at airport arrivals right now. They're mainly doing temperature checks because one of the symptoms of this virus is fever. So they're looking for people with heightened temperature. But Tom, one of the things that makes this so complicated is it has an incubation period of up to 2 weeks. So you could be infected but not show any symptoms for another 2 weeks, which of course means somebody could get off a plane, pass a temperature check, show no signs, and then end up being really, really sick and potentially die 2 weeks later.
Yeah,
Tom?
It's pretty scary. We're going to keep an eye on that one. Raf, we thank you for alerting our viewers. Now to Top Story's news feed. We start with an update on Luigi Mangione's state murder case. New York prosecutors now pushing to have the trial start in July. Mangione's attorney calling the timeline unrealistic since July selection in his federal case, jury selection, I should say, is set to start in September. Mangione is facing charges over the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. He's pleaded not guilty. An alarming video showing a wheel falling off a British Airways flight during takeoff. You can see it here. It happened earlier this week at a Las Vegas airport. You see the plane leaving, then moments later, the tire dropping to the ground. We're told the flight touched down safely in London. The little orange circle you see there has the tire. British Airways saying they're working with investigators to figure out exactly what had happened. And a mountain lion that's been roaming the streets of San Francisco has finally been captured. People first spotted the big cat on Monday wandering around apartments that apparently caused quite a commotion across the city. Officials eventually cornering the animal between two buildings and snagging it. They say they plan to test it to make sure it's healthy before releasing it back into the wild. Okay, and Spotify announcing it has paid out more than $11 billion to the music industry last year. Company officials say that sets a new record for the largest annual payment to music creators. They also claim half of those royalties went to independent artists and labels. Spotify's head of music says it proves artists are now making more money than they were decades ago during the CD era. Coming up, the deadly Russian drone attack on a train carrying civilians in Ukraine as negotiators keep pushing for a path to peace. Will it happen? Plus, a massive avalanche engulfing a town in Kashmir. We'll show you the moment it hit. That is next. We're back following a deadly attack in Ukraine. A passenger train carrying roughly 300 civilians hit in a drone attack. President Zelensky calling it an act of terrorism as Russia announces when the next round of trilateral peace talks will take place. Here's Keir Simmons.
A train in flames from a Russian drone strike in Ukraine last night is followed by frantic moments. Inside, a soldier pleads with a mother to evacuate. You see her cot and hear the sound of a baby. As they disembark into the cold, the little child's face appears. Then Mom begins weeping in the snow. Let's go, he says, as she cries uncontrollably. Around them, more civilians flee the burning cars. President Zelensky posting today, in any country, a drone strike on a civilian train would be viewed the same way, exclusively as terrorism. Nearly 300 were on board, 6 are dead, Ukrainian authorities say. The attack coming as another round of face-to-face peace talks were announced, following 2 days of Russia-Ukraine US negotiations.
There's some very good things happening on Ukraine and Russia.
They will meet again in Abu Dhabi on Sunday, the Kremlin says, but it continues to insist it must be given large amounts of territory it has not won on the battlefield. The Secretary of State addressing that in evidence on Capitol Hill today.
I know there's active work going to try to see if both sides' views on that can't be reconciled. It's still a bridge we haven't crossed.
And as the war grinds on, next month will mark 4 years since Russia's full-scale invasion. A Washington, D.C. think tank says by the spring, Russia and Ukraine will have suffered a grim 2 million dead, injured or missing. It says Russia alone has seen 1.2 million casualties.
And with that, Keir Simmons joins us now. Keir, that number is stunning. 1.2 million Russians dead, wounded, or missing, and President Putin believing he is winning?
That's right, Tom. It's clear he does from the way, for example, he answered a question I asked him in December saying that Russia would gain the region of Donbass either through negotiations or through war. And yet that number of 1.2 million Russian casualties you mentioned, Tom, from the Washington-based Center for Strategic and International Studies includes 325,000 Russians killed. The Kremlin telling NBC News today only casualty numbers from Russia's Ministry of Defense can be trusted, but it has not provided numbers recently. And experts say for all the massive losses Russia has seen, its recent gains have been incremental. Tom?
And again, when you include the Ukrainians, nearly 2 million. That number is just stunning. All right, Keir, we thank you for that report. We're going to stay overseas now with Top Stories Global Watch, starting with a fire ripping through a 5-star hotel at a ski resort in the French Alps. You can see the smoke billowing from the building overnight as firefighters scramble to put out the flames. Officials saying around 300 people were evacuated from that area and that nobody was hurt. The cause is still under investigation, but it comes just weeks after that fire at a Swiss ski resort, you may remember, remember, that left 40 people dead. And another massive avalanche caught on camera, this one slamming a neighborhood in the disputed Himalayan region of Kashmir. Watch as a cloud of snow pours in, completely overtaking buildings and eventually blocking the camera. Officials telling an Indian news agency nobody was seriously hurt. And a company in Chile taking a new approach to aging wine. Instead of keeping the bottles in traditional cellars, they're storing them at the bottom of the sea. You can see divers putting the wine in metal cages under the water. They say it helps keep the bottles at a consistent temperature and reduce light. People have been preserving wine in water for decades, but the concept is apparently new in Chile. Back now with the Hall of Fame snub heard around the world. ESPN reporting that 8-time Super Bowl winning coach Bill Belichick fell short of the votes needed for induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame during his first year of eligibility. That according to 4 sources with first-hand knowledge of the vote. Backlash to that report, snub quickly spreading online. Patrick Mahomes calling the move insane. Even another all-time great, LeBron James, weighing in, writing, that's impossible, egregious, and quite frankly, disrespectful. Thank you, LeBron. For more, Baker Machado from Front Office Sports joins us now. Baker, let's break down Belichick's record. Look, he is one of, some people might say he's the GOAT. I think Jimmy Johnson was alluding that to too. He's had 6 Super Bowl rings, all right, pretty incredible, 17 division titles, but also some large stains, including a losing record without his guy Tom Brady, not to mention Spygate, Deflategate, also not the friendliest of people to the media and to other coaches. So what's at stake here? What do you think happened?
I mean, this is a shock. I mean, you mentioned that the sources close to Belichick say that he is completely puzzled and really disappointed by all of this, because the expectation here, Tom, was that he was a surefire lock to get on the first ballot Hall of Fame. He's going up against 4 other people to get in there. And based on how the voting process works, there's 50 people that select from 5 people, and you have to choose 3 of your top 5, which means he has to get 80% of that vote. That means over 11 people chose not to include Belichick in their top 3 of their decisions to make the Hall of Fame.
And explain to our viewers here, who's on that Hall of Fame voting committee? You got media writers, you got players and coaches, ex-players and coaches?
Exactly. So you have, each city has a media representative. You have people in the Hall of Fame like Coach Tony Dungy that's in there. You have former Bills and Colts general manager Bill Polian, who was also on that committee as well. So there's a lot of different voices and perspectives on all of this.
Any idea who sort of sunk him?
So the theory out there is Bill Polian. We should note Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, also is in line to potentially be on the Hall of Fame. And by the way, the people who got into the Hall of Fame will not be fully announced until next week during NFL honors during the Super Bowl. But a lot of people are speculating that maybe Bill Polian, who's close to Robert Kraft, basically had some sway within the committee voters to say maybe Bill Belichick needed to take a year off from being elected into the Hall of Fame because of Spygate, because of Deflategate. We should know Spygate was more so him, Deflategate was more Tom Brady. So I really shouldn't concoct those two together.
I mean, my theory is that it was just maybe people that Bill Belichick rubbed the wrong way over all those years.
Yes, which, by the way, is a very valid point. But you mentioned all of the accolades that he has. He is second all-time in NFL history in wins. Most head coaching victories of all time at 6. He has 8 Super Bowls combined with the 2 that he was the defensive coordinator. So just on those merits alone, Belichick supporters would say he deserves to get in just based off of that.
He's not doing great right now at UNC, but again, he's just getting started there, so we'll give him some time. Does that, what's happening at UNC, and or maybe in his Instagram profile, doing cheerleading moves? No, but does that have any impact on any of this, or not really?
Belichick supporters would say no. If you look at one of the most successful college coaches of all time, Nick Saban, didn't have the greatest record in the NFL, and that didn't blemish his reputation and his legacy as a coach at all. And look, Bill Belichick will say he's sticking in North Carolina. They have a really difficult season next year, obviously facing your Miami Hurricanes and 11 other teams that had winning records next year. But obviously it's an apples to oranges comparison. What Bill Belichick did in the NFL should completely be separate from how he's judged in college.
Baker Machado, always so great to see you, man. We appreciate it. I'm Tom Llamas in New York. Stay right there. More news on the way. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.